Let's bring in Chris Brown, who's part of our CBC News coverage team. He's in Ashkelon, near the border with Gaza, just outside a medical center that's been treating the people wounded in the Hamas attacks. And Chris, I had planned to begin the hour with a conversation with you, but then you got suddenly called in an air raid siren. Obviously, the all clear, thankfully. But what is happening right now? And tell us a little bit about where you are.
You know, these rocket attacks coming from Hamas, for all of the Israeli bombs that have been falling on the Gaza Strip, for all the artillery that we can hear outgoing, Hamas is still firing a considerable number of rockets into southern Israel. And you really don't have a whole lot of time to get out of the way. Those alarms go off, the siren goes off, and we ran inside because it's a very thick concrete area here. 30 seconds later, we heard a huge boom. Now, that was either the rocket hitting something here or the anti-missile system taking out the rocket. But it all happens very fast. And then as soon as that happens, as soon as they hear that big boom, people run back out here again. So it is become, Heather, fairly routine.
Isn't that incredible? Well, good to see you protected and safe. And can you just give us, I do have questions about the border and about hostages, but I'm also interested in what's happening at that medical center, why you've chosen to report live from there. Tell us about that, Chris, a bit.
Well, this is a place that's been really at the center of a lot of the response to last Saturday. We were here just 24 hours, 36 hours after those attacks, and ambulances were still coming and going. Survivors were here. There were people who were here to see relatives, and we just really wanted to sort of check back in on this scene and to see what it's like, because there still are a couple of hundred people from that attack last Saturday still in the hospital, and there's also a very large community effort here going to look after all the healthcare workers who, as you can imagine, Heather, have just been going nonstop now for almost a week.
We'll look forward to the reporting from there. Chris, thank you very much. Now, you are watching, as we are, closely for any news on what's happening at the Rafah border crossing, that one and only border crossing with Gaza and Egypt. What is the latest you're hearing on the Rafah situation, Chris?
It is like on, off, but still off. A lot of the American networks seem to get ahead of themselves last night, reporting it was going to be open at 9 this morning. That did not happen. There was a statement from the Prime Minister of Israel's office, Benjamin Netanyahu's people said there is no truce. That seemed to take the Egyptians, who were key people in brokering this, the opening of this border, that seemed to take them by surprise. And the latest we've heard is from UN people who say they are deep into this, deep into negotiations. It is very, very complicated. Heather, Israel wants aid to come in, Egypt wants aid to come in. Israel wants people, foreign nationals, to come out, but there is very, very little trust. And you throw in Hamas, who very few people will even talk to, and that just makes this an incredibly complicated situation. But the bottom line at this hour, as I'm speaking to you, there are still several thousand people queued up outside a chain link fence at Rafah, and that fence is not opening. They are not leaving.
And Chris, the other thing that I'm interested in is new numbers that we receive from Israeli officials. We've obviously watched the hostage story very, very closely. Negotiations apparently continue for their release, but the number of hostages taken has increased dramatically this morning. What are we learning? Well,
the Israelis have been trying to keep families up to date, track down who might be dead, who might be captured, and so forth. And as we've seen even in Canada's case, some of these numbers have changed. There are 3 dual national Canadian Israelis that are now part of 199 Israelis who are being held in Gaza. That number is up from about 150. So clearly there's probably a bit of chaos on the Israeli side still, trying to sort this all out. But obviously just tracking people, figuring out who is dead, who is alive, is still an ongoing process. As for Gaza itself, Heather, it is a calamity inside. New numbers from Gaza, 2,750 dead, almost 10,000 injured, and 1,000 people still trapped in the rubble of all those buildings that have been destroyed. So awful numbers there. Fuel is running out at the hospitals. They're only running on generators. We're told they may only have 24 hours left. We heard today from a young British girl, 13 years old, she gave a sense, I guess, of what's going through her mind right now. Have a listen.
Maybe I can leave Gaza. If Rafah does open, then alhamdulillah, maybe I could leave because of the bombs. Clearly, no one wants to die, obviously. Everyone, including me and my family, we're all stressed out. We don't know what to do. If Rafah doesn't open, we could be in serious trouble. I don't know what to do.
And Heather, I guess I can tell you that one other thing that we've noticed here, a lot of the GPS systems have been jammed. Not just here, but also, I'm told, on the northern border with Lebanon as well. You know, it's all part of an electronic warfare thing, perhaps to prevent some of the Hamas missiles from coming over. But we really don't know. But it's just one of the preparations that we've seen indicating that this ground offensive is still coming, even though we have not seen it yet, Heather.
Chris, thank you. It's so good to have you there and bringing us hourly updates. We will speak again later in the morning. Thank you, Chris, for this hour. Chris is in Ashkelon outside that medical center that's in the south of Israel this morning.